Did you know that healing childhood trauma is a lot like learning a musical instrument? Or another title of this video should be, which part of you is too much in charge? Which part of you is too strong and not working together? So when we sit down on a musical instrument like playing piano or guitar or drums, we are learning to overcome something in our brain called the corpus callosum. That part of us marries the hemispheres of our brain. And when we start, it's too habituated to do things together. It's like too strong of a habit, and we need to separate those parts of our brains in learning a musical instrument in order to have them come back together and have them be much more stronger. Healing childhood trauma is in a very similar way. We're trying to break a conditioned habit. But in this case, we're dealing with the prefrontal cortex, which is right behind here, which is like the thinking and feeling brain. It's the part of our brain we want more online. But that part of our brain can't be more online because it's the limbic system back here that is taking over, and we have habituated strong reactions. Can't say no, we're people pleasing, we're over explaining, we go into a shame hole. Those are the things that are habituated responses that we're trying to overcome. And in healing childhood trauma, we're looking for a different kind of independence. We're looking for neural independence, where the trauma brain isn't taking over so much because the prefrontal cortex, or the inner adult if you like, is taking care of and guiding the trauma brain to soothe. If you're stuck and you can't not date unavailable people, you can't say no, you can't stop those reactions, it's your prefrontal cortex or your inner adult that's trying to take over and guide the trauma brain. So when everybody sits down at the drum set, they're trying to overcome gross motor habits. It's like we're approaching learning the drums as if we were lifting a box with both of our hands. And that is a very frustrating thing to overcome. But again, we need to have these two parts of our brain talk differently to each other to achieve some independence. And your dominant hand, whatever instrument you're playing, is going to actually help your non-dominant hand to overcome those things, but also to keep them in line and in guidance. And when I was in my own childhood trauma work, I was doing something called RRP, the relationship recovery process, where the creator of that program, Amanda Curtin, was teaching us how to dialogue between our dominant hand and our non-dominant hand on paper. We were reparenting our inner child through journaling, and that was the discussion of making these two parts of our brain talk differently to each other. So in a similar way to musical instruments, you're going to have a dominant part of you that is able to guide, even if you feel like you're not guiding. That's kind of how it works. One part is guiding the other, and in that there's a lot of soothing going on. Similar to musical instruments, when I would dialogue, after I felt more regulated and calm because I was working between the hemispheres of my brain. I was also working between the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system, and that turned everything down of the triggers and that kind of a thing. And in a similar way to playing drums, I've never walked away from my drum set not feeling good, because in a similar way, I'm working and soothing and balancing those things out. It's just really, really good for your brain. So it does take practice though. The biggest part of this video is I want you to understand there is kind of a hump that you kind of eventually crest over, and it gets much more easier, but it's a lot of like hard work to train your brain to do different things. So reparenting the inner child is a very action-oriented thing that takes practice, much like learning a musical instrument. And it can be frustrating at times because we want to have some control over our emotions. We want to have a better way to be in the world. We don't want to go into a shame hole or say something we don't mean to, or that kind of a thing. So it takes a lot of work to get there. And when you get good at it, you can really flow. You can sort of be able to say no with ease. You can sort of know that not everything is about you, not take everything so personally, and you're much more freer to do that kind of stuff. But this work of dialoguing and reparenting their child is sort of what happens outside of therapy. There's a lot of release stuff that creates more space for us to be able to do that practicing. So it's like a 50-50 kind of a thing. It's not just one or the other.